What up? Hey, it's Ben Brode from Second Dinner, and I'm super excited to be showing off our very first live stream of Marvel Snap. It's something pretty unique. We're streaming to a vertical screen on TikTok at the same time as we're doing a horizontal screen on Twitch, and it's been a long time since I've been able to do a thing exactly like this. We have some really special stuff to show you today. So first, we're going to show a couple games of really the beginning style of gameplay, really simple matches. We're going to use the starter deck, which is the very first deck players are going to play with, a bunch of cards that don't have any abilities, just to get players used to some of the core rules of the game. And then after we show a couple games off of that, I'm going to go through some high-level decks, and then we're going to have a grudge match between Nikki Broderick, senior producer at Second Dinner, and Johnny Erner, art manager at Second Dinner, and they are together responsible for the art process, putting all of the incredible art into the game, working with all our amazing artists. So we're gonna cut to them, and good luck in your match, friends. But before that, we're gonna play a quick game. I'm gonna show you how to play Marvel Snap. So let's cut to some gameplay here. And I'm in my first game of Snap already against Nikki here. The first thing I want to call your attention to is just how incredible the cards look in this game. They are just beautiful. They have this really cool 3D effect. You can use your finger to move them around. You can also use your phone's gyroscope, and as you move the device, the cards are beautifully 3D. Our cards look stunning. So I have 4 cards in my hand. I have 1 energy to spend. Cards cost energy to spend. You can play as many cards as you have the energy to do so. You get a little more energy each turn. You gotta use it or lose it. You can't save energy between turns. The first location here is Xandar. Xandar says cards here have +1 power. The goal of the game is to win 2 out of 3 locations. So it doesn't matter which 2 I win. I just gotta win 2 out of 3. And let's see, I could play cards to any of these 3 locations. The other 2 have abilities, but we don't know what they're gonna be just yet. So this one will be revealed next turn. This one will be revealed in 2 turns. As you play cards to locations, they add power to locations. So let's see, where do I want to play Quicksilver? Well, he gets a bonus if I play him to Xandar, so let's play my first card there to Xandar. So turns are played simultaneously in this game. So as I'm deciding what I want to do on my turn, my opponent's deciding what they want to do on their turn, and as soon as we both end the turn, we're going to reveal our choices to each other simultaneously. All right, it's turn 2. There are 6 turns in the game. At the end of turn 6, that's it. Whoever's winning through 2 out of 3 locations wins the game at the end of turn 6. Turn 2, I only have a card that costs 1 energy. It's Misty Knight. Misty Knight in the starter deck here doesn't have any special abilities. Now, the second location here is Hellfire Club. It says 1 cost cards can't be played here. So I can't play Misty Knight at that location. Let's play the Xandar, start getting that extra +1 power going as well. Now, this is a ranked match. That 1 in the cube at the top is the stakes of the match. Whoever wins the game wins a cube. Whoever loses the game loses a cube. The more cubes you have, the higher rank you are in the ranked ladder. So here's Nova Roma, 3rd location, draw cards. So we get an extra card in this game. We have a few more options to play with. I have 5 cards in my hand now. It's turn 3, so I have 3 energy to spend. I have a few options here. I could play Star-Lord, who says if your opponent played a card here this turn, +3 power. So if I can guess correctly where Nikki's going to play, I could get up to 5 power with Star-Lord. Medusa says +2 power if you play her to the middle location. So a lot of power for 2 energy, but less flexibility than some other cards. And then I've got Punisher, who gives me +1 power for each opposing card at this location. Now, my opponent didn't play any cards on turn 2, so this is maybe not looking very good for Nikki. And Punisher gets a bonus if he's facing off against a lot of cards. So perhaps I can suspect my opponent will play some extra cards to Xandar to take advantage of that bonus. I'll play Punisher to Xandar here. I was correct, so I get some extra power there from Punisher, seeing Misty Knight and Shocker go down at Xandar. Neither one of these has any special abilities. They're in the starter deck. So it's turn 4. I have a lot of options here on this turn. I've got the Thing with 6 power, and I've got, again, Star-Lord and Medusa. And I could play them both this turn because I have 4 energy to spend. They each cost 2 energy. And I've got Hawkeye. Hawkeye says if you play a card here next turn, Hawkeye gets +2 power. So that's pretty powerful for 1 energy, but it gives my opponent a little information about where I'm likely to play next turn. I cannot play Hawkeye to Hellfire Club. Playing Hawkeye to Xandar is not a good play because I won't be able to follow up and get the extra bonus. So if I want to play Hawkeye, it's probably going to be to Nova Roma. Now, you can only have 4 cards at the location. So playing a 4th card here to Xandar, smash the thing around a little bit. If I play a 4th card here to Xandar, it's going to give my opponent a lot of information. It means I'm not going to, she'll know I can't get any more than, it'll be 19 power at that location. But it's a lot of power. So I'm just going to play the Thing here to Nova Roma, and hopefully that's enough to win that location in the future. We see the thing coming down for Nikki at the middle location. And I'm currently winning 2 out of 3 locations. These games go fast. This turn's 5 out of 6. It's the second to last turn of the game. So I'm in a good position right now. I drew Iron Man, and Iron Man says your total power is doubled at this location. I am just going to slam Iron Man down at Xandar. I think there's no chance that Nikki can win that location. Given an Iron Man there, I'll go up to 24 power. There's just no way that Nikki can get an extra 14 power at that location. And then I just have to focus on winning one of these other locations, and that should be no problem for me. So here we go. Iron Man gets +1, going up to 13, doubling it to 26. Abomination, not enough to win that location. So I'm feeling great about Xandar. I just need to make sure I win one other location. Now, on the last turn of the game, which this is, the cube is going to double next turn. So at the end of the game. So we're playing for 1 cube right now, but very soon we'll be playing for 2 cubes. Now I'm feeling great about my position here because I feel like I've got Xandar locked for me. So I'm just going to play Hulk here, who has 11 power. That's kind of what Hulk does. Is Hulk smashes. It's got a huge power, and that should be enough. I don't think there's any card in Nikki's deck that's going to be able to overcome a Hulk to Nova Roma here. We'll see how it goes. A Hulk over Rome. We're playing the same deck here. So I was able to win it. The cubes double, so that's 2 cubes for me. I move a little farther up the rank ladder, and that's a victory for me. I won 2 out of 3 locations. That's how you win a game of Marvel Snap. In 6 turns, get 2 out of 3 locations, and that's enough for the victory for me. So I'm gonna amp it up a little bit here. We're gonna play another match. I'm gonna get ready to queue here for another match against Nikki. Nikki, are you ready? All right, 1, 2, 3, let's go. And here in the second match, I've added a couple new cards. So we've advanced the experience a little bit. I got a question here on the stream. Is every starter deck the same? Yes, all players start with the same cards. You're going to earn a lot of cards really quickly, but you start with this overall much simpler starter deck. All right, here I've matched against Nikki, and we'll hop into the game. So turn 1, here we go. First location is Atlantis. If you only have 1 card here, it has +5 power. So my goal with Atlantis is to play a giant card and try and be able to win that location with a single card, take advantage of that +5 power. Now I have Namor here in my hand, who gets +5 power if it's my only card here. I can double dip there. I can play Namor to Atlantis, get +5 power from Namor's ability and +5 power from Atlantis' ability. So that's something I'll be keeping an eye out, seeing if I can get that working. I have 1 energy to spend here on turn 1. And let's get Quicksilver going. I'm not going to play Quicksilver to Atlantis. I'm going to play Quicksilver somewhere else. Save that Atlantis for 1 giant card. Ant-Man from Nikki. Ant-Man has an ongoing ability that says if you have 3 other cards here, he gets +3 power. So that gives me a little bit of information here about what Nikki wants to do, which is play a lot of cards there to the middle location. So we'll see if I can use that information to my advantage. I drew Mr. Fantastic. Now, Mr. Fantastic has stretchy arms. He can reach adjacent locations and give them +2 power. So this is great because it can let me get some additional power at Atlantis without having to play any cards there and not ruining my ability to play 1 giant card there. I have Medusa, who says if this is the middle location, +2 power. But I have 3 energy this turn thanks to Tinkerer's Workshop, which is the center location here. It says +1 energy this turn. So even though it's only turn 2, I got 3 energy to spend. I'm going to take advantage of that and play Mr. Fantastic here to Tinkerer's Workshop. Mr. Fantastic with the stretchy arms, giving me +2 power at adjacent locations. Medusa for Nikki, getting +2 power there, and Quicksilver going to the other location. Already halfway to filling up Ant-Man's location, getting that bonus. The Big House is the 3rd location. 4, 5, and 6 cost cards can't be played here. The Big House is a location where Ant-Man shrinks his enemies and keeps them in a small little bunker surrounded by enemies. And so you can only play the teeniest cards here at the Big House. Quicksilver luckily gets in there. I could play Medusa here at the Big House. Now, playing a card to she won't get the +2 power, so that's not great. But I don't have any other small cards. I don't have any little teeny cards to play there, so it actually might make sense to forego the +2 power and play her to the Big House, getting at least some cards in there while I still can. I think that's what I'm going to do. Play Medusa over there. And oh no, Nikki anticipated my play. It's still only turn 3. She knew that if I was going to play a small card, it was going to have to be to the Big House. She caught me with Star-Lord. Star-Lord gets a bonus if she figures out exactly where I'm going to play and plays a card there as well. So that's a big bummer for me. Thankfully, I drew the Punisher. +1 power for each opposing card of the location. This is one of the best cards to play at the Big House because even though it costs 3 energy, I can get a lot of power by playing it across from a lot of other cards. Now, I have Namor. I could play it this turn to Atlantis, but I don't want Nikki to know just how strong I will be there because then she'll have more information to counter me later in the game. So I'm just going to spend, I'm wasting an energy, but I think it's still worth it for me to play Punisher here at the Big House. Now, we're playing for 1 cube right now. And one cube is a significant number of cubes. Eventually, it'll double at the end of the game. But actually, because I have Punisher here and I have a Namor for later on, I think I'm going to win this game. And before Nikki finds that out and finds out how good my play is, I'm going to snap. I'm going to tap on the cube and propose a double. I'm going to say, let's play for twice the cubes. If I win this game, I want to win double the cubes. So it's going to go up to 2 starting next turn. And then at the end of the game, if we're all still in it, it's going to go up to 4 cubes. Now, Nikki has to decide, did he double because he's feeling really good about this and he thinks he's going to win? In which case, I should probably bail. I'd rather lose 1 cube than 2 cubes. Or is he bluffing me? Is he saying he's going to win, but actually he's got just a terrible turn and she's really got it. And I'm just trying to convince her to leave to get the 1 cube before she realizes how things are going here. So we'll see if Nikki stays in. She does. The cubes go up to 2, and no play on turn 3. Wow, actually that's significant because Tinker's Workshop triggered. We cleared out some of those cards early on, and that was turn 4. No play on turn 4. Wow, that tells me a lot about what's in Nikki's hand right now. It's a lot of really high cost cards. It's a 6-drop, probably 2 5-drops, maybe 2 4-drops. Maybe 2 5-drops. That's very interesting. It scares me a little bit. Okay, so I have 2 choices here. I could play Namor there to Atlantis, or I could play Gamora. Gamora says if your opponent played a card here this turn, plus 4 power. So if I guess correctly where Nikki is going to play, Gamora will get a huge bonus. Now, if Nikki is going to play to Atlantis this turn, Gamora could be a huge play there, but I think I'm just going to hope that she's waiting till the last turn of the game to play a really giant card there. I could also play Hulk, who's actually bigger than Namor, to Atlantis, hoping that I can really go over the top there. So I'm going to play Gamora here to the middle location. We'll see. I think she's going to try and get that Ant-Man all the way up to get that extra bonus. I was right. So Gamora strikes here, gets an extra 4 power, taking me to 10 power. Iron Man is not what I wanted to see, though. Iron Man doubles the power there. Now, if she plays another card there, Ant-Man's going to trigger again, getting her another plus 3 power, which is then going to be doubled. So even a little teeny card is going to give her the win there at Tinker's Workshop. Now, I'm winning all 3 locations right now. So I'm feeling pretty good. The cubes double again at the end of the game, taking it to 4 cubes. I'm definitely not retreating on this turn. I'm feeling strong about this. Nikki's going to have to convert 2 locations. I'm going to slam Hulk down here at the left location. Now, this is interesting. I could play Namor here. That's going to be 10 power, taking me up to 12, which is more than an opposing Hulk would be able to take. And then it leaves me a little more energy to play Star-Lord here. If she does play another card to the middle location, then it'll go up to 5 power, and I'll feel even more comfortable going up against an Iron Man location. Now, I'm very vulnerable at the big house. Even a small card to the big house would win that one. And she might realize that I'm already winning Atlantis, especially because of Mr. Fantastic. And so she might just completely ignore Atlantis, in which case I'm committing way too many resources there. I should play Hulk to the middle, perhaps, and let my 2 power win Atlantis. But I think she's going to be tempted to go for Atlantis. We'll see what she does here. I'm going to risk 4 cubes. She was tempted. I think that's good for me. I don't think she can beat 17 power there. Namor gets double the bonus from Atlantis. My Star-Lord triggers. Mr. Fantastic wins her the big house. Oh, no. And then, Ant-Man triggers and she's got the Iron Man. Oh, no. Well, I thought I had it, but that Iron Man really unchecked goes wild and wins the middle location. I've lost. The Hawkeye to the left location is just a weak little card. Got the +5 bonus. And she was able to convert 2 locations and just fake me out there that she was going to Atlantis. Incredible match. Well played, Nikki. Nicely done. Wow. I was sure I had that. I should have retreated on that second to last third. Good game, Nikki. Okay, I'm going to pop over here into some decks that Johnny and Nikki are going to be piloting here for their match. So they're going to play a series of games. This is going to be a match to see who can win 10 cubes first. So they're going to play a game. They're going to win some cubes. And then whoever gets the 10 cubes first is the winner. So we'll see, maybe it's going to be one person going straight to 10 cubes, or maybe it'll be spread out over a bunch of games. But just one game isn't enough. You got to be piloting your deck really well over a series of games to get all the way to be the winner. All right, so let's take a look at Nikki's deck here. So Nikki's playing a deck that focuses on playing a lot of cards and buffing those cards. So the first card here, this is a variant for Ant-Man. And the Ant-Man, again, you saw it in the previous games. If you have 3 cards here, +3 power, this is great if you're playing a deck with lots of cards because you're very likely to get that effect. Second card here is Squirrel Girl. On reveal, add a 1 power squirrel to each other location. Well, this is another great way to fill your locations with cards so that you can then trigger Ant-Man more easily. Here's the little squirrel that Squirrel Girl puts at every location. This is a really cute squirrel variant. I'll show off some of the 3D effect here. It's beautiful. All right, Sunspots. This is a one-cost card, but every energy you don't spend, Sunspot absorbs and gets a little more powerful. So at the end of each turn, gain +1 power for each unspent energy. This can really smooth out your draws. So if you draw Sunspot on turn 1 and don't draw a card for turn 2, no problem. Sunspot will take those energy, get a little bit more powerful. Angela is a great card for a deck like this where you want to play lots of cards at all the locations. Angela says when you play a card here, get +2 power, so you can get very strong very quickly. Mysterio is one of the trickiest cards in the game. So Mysterio says, as you play this, play illusions to the other locations and disguise this one as an illusion until the game ends. So your opponent's going to see 3 copies of this, Mysterio with a question mark. Which is the real Mysterio? The real one has 5 power. So Johnny, when playing against this card, is going to see 3 Mysterios come down, and he won't know which is the real Mysterio until the end of the game. And he'll have to kind of get into Nikki's head and think, where would she have played the real Mysterio, and how's that going to affect what I'm going to do with my cards? Storm is really tactical. She floods a location, making it the last turn cards can be played there. So one really interesting thing here is it actually changes the location to this location. It starts flooding. It says this last turn cards can be played here, and then it becomes flooded. It says cards can't be played here. And so if there's a location that's really giving you trouble, it's really messing up your strategy, Storm can get rid of it, flood it, get rid of that power, and also set you up to lock that location out early. So if you can play some early cards there, then you can lock that location down as early as turn 4 or 5 with Storm. Now, there's another really good combo with Storm in this deck that I'll show you in a couple cards. This card, Captain America, again, great with lots of cards, buffs every card at your location with +1 power, and we're going to see, again, with Ant-Man, very likely to fill all the locations with this deck. So this card's great with Storm. It's Juggernaut. If your opponent played cards here this turn, move them randomly. So Juggernaut charges through your opponent's cards, knocks them all out of the way. If you played Storm last turn, then that may have been the last turn your opponent could have played cards at that location anyway, and Juggernaut knocks them out of the way, making sure that you win that location with Storm. It can be very powerful. Shang-Chi is a really good counter card if you're expecting decks with a lot of really big cards in it, because he destroys all enemy cards at that location that have 9 or more power. So most cards don't have 9 or more power, but if you're facing off a deck that's trying to play Hulk or some really, really huge cards, Shang-Chi can really take care of that for you in that scenario. Now, Rock Slide says shuffle 2 useless rocks into your opponent's deck. This card's mean. Here's a useless rock. It doesn't do anything. And if you play Rock Slide on turn 4, your opponent might just draw 2 useless cards on turn 5 and turn 6. This could really turn the game around for you, and also just makes you feel like a little bit of a jerk, which is sometimes nice. Here's Iron Man rounding out the deck. Second last card, your total power is doubled to this location. Really, really powerful if you have a lot of power at a single location. It gets better the more cards you have. This is a Dan Hip variant, one of my favorites. And here's the linchpin of the deck, Blue Marvel. He's so strong. Your other cards have +1 power. This is great as you have more cards at all the locations. So if you have 4 cards at every location, that's a lot of power. It's 12 extra power that he generates by giving all of them +1 power. So the strategy here with this deck is to get as many cards out as you can, buff them all, and hopefully that'll be enough to overcome Johnny's card. So let's take a quick look at Johnny's deck here. Johnny's playing a deck that I like to call the Big Bad. So a lot of villains in this deck, a lot of really powerful cards, and some of them have some downsides. Some of them hurt you, but he's got some ways around that. So this first card here is Elektra. On reveal, destroy a random enemy 1-cost card at this location. So usually that's the exact card you want, because you play it at the location where they have the 1-cost card you're most worried about. There's a lot of 1-cost cards in Nikki's deck, and Squirrel Girl provides some protection against this card. So we'll see how effective this will be for Johnny. Second 1-cost card here is Sunspot, again, from the same card, and really good for helping you smooth out bad draws. And Zero. Now, Zero's special power is he can get rid of mutant abilities, and so when you play Zero, it removes the abilities on the next card you play. So this is very powerful at removing downside effects. This is Dagger. Now, Dagger, when it moves to a location, gets +2 power for each card your opponent has there. So if you can move Dagger somehow, then she can become really, really powerful in one move by getting a lot of extra bonuses. Dagger is very good with Cloak, and we'll see Cloak shortly. So this is Sentinel. Sentinels just keep coming. On reveal, add another Sentinel to your hand. So when you play Sentinel, you get another Sentinel. When you play that Sentinel, you get another Sentinel. They just don't stop. And so if you're having trouble finding 2-cost cards to play, Sentinel's a great one to make sure you always have options throughout the entire game. This is Cloak. On reveal, next turn, both players can move cards to this location. He opens a portal and can suck other cards through his dimensional portal in his Cloak. The best card to pull through is Dagger, because you're hoping your opponent moves cards to that location, and then you move Dagger there and soak up all of the +2 power for that move. It also lets you choose, after you play Cloak, how you want your cards organized. Maybe you played a card in the wrong location. or another location open up that you think, ooh, this would be better if I played it over here. Based on what my opponent's doing, I'd like to rearrange these. Cloak lets you do that. Really, really powerful, especially in this deck where cards like Venom exist, where you really want to target at the exact perfect location. Destroy your other cards at this location, add their power to this card. Now, this is very powerful in this deck because this deck is all about creating one giant card that then you can use with either Taskmaster or Arnim Zola, which we'll show you a little bit later, to great effect. So Venom kind of coalesces the power. Now, this is really interesting in a game where you have four cards you can play at a location. You can't play more than 4 cards. Venom lets you get more cards into a location. So if you have 3 cards at a location and the 4th card is Venom, he slurps up all those cards, becomes a huge card, and then look, you got more slots to play at. You can get even stronger. Your opponent thought you were going to be pretty capped, and this card gets around it. Hulkbuster is another card that's exactly the same thing. It merges, you can fit any card inside the Hulkbuster. So the Hulkbuster opens up, Hulkbuster goes and surrounds that card, combining the 2 cards together, giving the resultant card an extra 4 power. This is another way to generate a really huge card that can be comboed with some other cards in Johnny's deck. Typhoid Mary is a little bit of a jerk. She's got 10 power for 4 energy, which is a lot, but she gives every other card you have -1 power, kind of the inverse of Blue Marvel here. It's a great target if you have 0 to remove the abilities from one of your cards. You'd like it to remove it from this one. Here's Taskmaster. Taskmaster says, Taskmaster can look at what somebody's doing and perfectly mimic what they're doing. And so Taskmaster says, set this card's power equal to the power of the last card you played. So if the last card you played was Typhoid Mary, congratulations, this card's going to have 10 power. And there's a lot of really high power cards in this deck, including things like Venom, or the Hulkbuster card you just played, or Typhoid Mary. This is a really powerful card to double up that power. Here's one of the highest power cards in the deck, Red Skull. Red Skull is just super mean. He betrays you and gives +2 power to every card on your opponent's side of the location. But he does have 14 power. So perhaps if you can zero out his abilities, that would be great. He destroys a random friendly card at that location, so one of your cards, and adds copies of it to the other locations, because he's a cloner. That's a special power. He clones people. So when you play Arnim Zola, he gets rid of Red Skull, puts 2 more Red Skulls at the other locations, giving you a huge amount of extra power. And also surprising your opponent, because maybe they thought Red Skull was going to stick at the location you played him. He's not. All right, those are the 2 decks. Johnny's going to try and get huge, powerful cards and copy them multiple times. Nikki's going to try and swarm the board, getting as many cards as she can and giving them huge buffs with Captain America and Blue Marvel. So we're going to jump into the match here. And remember, this match is played to 10 cubes. So we're going to start off at 0 cubes, and we're going to go all the way to whoever can get to 10 cubes first. While we're setting up the match, I'm going to answer a couple questions we got on the stream here. First question I got here is the game mobile only? And the answer is no. It's going to be on mobile, and we're working on an early access version of the PC build that'll be out at the time we launch globally. That should be awesome. Another question we got here is how many locations are there? And any you can tell us about. You're going to see a bunch of locations throughout these matches, but there are 60 locations in the game at launch, and we're going to add 1 new location every week. And that location is going to be a little more common at the beginning of when it comes out. So a couple days, you'll see it a lot. It won't be in every game, but you might want to build your deck to take advantage of that location. For example, if the location is Central Park, it adds a squirrel to every location. Perhaps you'd like to play cards like Ant-Man and Captain America, and perhaps you should not play a card like Namor. It gets a bonus if it's the only card at that location. So that's if you can correctly anticipate the location, which you can at the hot location, when the location's hot, definitely build your deck. It'll give you a huge advantage on the ladder. And then after that location's hot for a couple days, it'll become just part of the regular pool of locations. I realize that's a lot of locations. There's going to be a huge number of locations. Every week we're going to launch one. We have so many in the pipe that we've already got ready to go. So there's going to be a ton of content coming really fast. All right, we have our players queuing up here, ready to jump in the game. Both players start with 0 cubes. We're going to see who can hit 10 cubes first. Let's jump into the match. Good luck, Johnny. Good luck, Nikki.
Thanks.
Thank you. The real Johnny here.
All right, turn 1 here. We can bring up the stream. Cards here have -3 power. The first location is the negative zone, giving -3 power to every card at that location. It's hard to tell who this benefits most. I think it probably benefits Johnny. He has got cards, huge cards, and they can withstand having -3 power. But squirrels, if you play out 4 cards to the negative zone, each one getting -3 power, it's pretty bad for Nikki. So neither one of them choosing to play. Johnny's choosing not to play Electra. Electra destroys an enemy 1-cost card. He's saving it for a high-value card next turn. And he's got the Cloak and Dagger combo here. So he's got Dagger going down first, and he could either play Cloak next turn to set up the Dagger move, but Nikki has no cards yet. He doesn't know where to play Cloak to try and get his Dagger to move to a location. It's interesting. He could have played Dagger to negative zone, knowing that he'd be able to move it out later. Oh, we've got Mysterio here for Nikki. So we don't know which of these is the real Mysterio. It could be the one in negative zone. It could be the one at Kunlun. It could be the one at the location we're about to find out what it is this turn. Washington, D.C. Washington, D.C. says cards here have that with no abilities have +3 power. I forgot to mention, Kunlun says when a card moves here, give it +2 power. So that's actually quite powerful with Cloak, except it affects both players. So Cloak is going to let both players move any cards they want to that center location. Nikki has more possible cards to move here. So this might benefit Nikki a little more. It'll also let her get that Mysterio out of negative zone and into that center location. So the Cloak actually might be helping Nikki more than Johnny here. Although, if Johnny is expecting Nikki to move those Mysterios, that'll give Dagger even more bonus power. So we see Sunspot coming down here for Johnny. Sunspot getting a little extra energy every time Johnny has energy he doesn't spend. Washington, D.C. can be quite powerful with cards like Squirrels, who don't have any abilities on their own. And Mysterio here doesn't have any ability on his own once he's a mysterious copy. So there's Cloak, which, oh, wow, Juggernaut charging over, moving Cloak to the negative zone. Nikki really wanted to get some of Johnny's cards into the negative zone to give them -3 power. Juggernaut does that. However, he can now move the Cloak back thanks to the transdimensional portal there. And every card Johnny has moving here to the middle location to capitalize on that +2 power. So unfortunately, Juggernaut actually gave Johnny a huge benefit, letting Cloak get the extra +2 power moving back. And, you know, Johnny here could snap. He could take advantage of this huge advantage. He's not playing Hulkbuster to the middle. He's playing Hulkbuster to Washington, D.C., which is, he could, normally playing a fourth card to location would be pretty bad, because then your opponent has a lot of information about how much total power you can build to that location. But Hulkbuster avoids that because it connects to another location, another card to that location. But he seems to be playing, oh, he's going to play it. He's going to play it to Kunlun. Okay, well, that's, okay, what do we got here? Storm. Oh, well, that's a great card for Nikki, really avoiding that really bad downside, the negative zone, getting rid of that. Now that location's flooding. Here goes all the +2 powers. Dagger getting a huge, look at that. Look at how much power Johnny's got here. It's only turn 4. Hulkbuster developing Cloak there for a huge amount of extra power. Sunspot eating the extra energy. All right, it's turn 5. There's 6 turns here in the game. So this is his second last turn. There's no way Nikki's going to win the middle location at this point. So Johnny feeling really good. Typhoid Mary is going to hurt all of his other cards, but he's winning by a lot. So he doesn't really care too much about that. Typhoid Mary has 10 power. If that's the real Mysterio at the flooding location, that might not be enough. If Nikki plays another card here, she might be able to get over the top at the flooding location. And she's already winning in Washington, D.C. So this could put Johnny into a bad position. It's a good thing Johnny didn't snap in that last turn. I wasn't expecting the storm, but maybe Johnny was. Oh, Nikki, maybe that wasn't the real Mysterio. Nikki bailed out and decided not to go there. And this is very interesting because the Typhoid Mary is now putting Nikki ahead at the flooded location. No more cards can be played there. And Johnny had a huge advantage here at the middle location. Nikki is winning Washington, D.C. handily, even with Red Skull there. This is the final turn of the game. Red Skull's not enough. It's going to give +2 power to every card at Washington, D.C. That's just going to lose it for Johnny. Johnny doesn't have anything really to do here except to perhaps bolster the middle location even further. Now, this is the last turn of the game. Cube's double here. It's a really hard decision to make. He wants to make sure that he puts himself in a position to win the game or bail out right now and lose just the 1 cube. So he's got to decide, am I going to win this game or am I not going to win this game? I'd rather not lose 2 cubes if I'm going to lose this game. So it looks like he's thinking about playing Sentinels here. That's he could play Taskmaster to the middle location to get but what was the last card he played? It was Typhoid Mary. That should give him even more power. It's confusing why he'd be playing Sentinels. Johnny, why Sentinels?
Scared. I'm very scared.
All right, so Nikki's still deciding what she wants to do on her turn. She's got to win the middle location. So if that's the real Mysterio at the middle location, then that's actually 8 power there. She's much closer. Can she get another 11 power? Hulk would do it. She doesn't have Hulk in her deck. Yeah, she doesn't have it. There's no way to get enough power there. So she decides to take the 1 cube loss. Very smart tactical retreat on that. Let's head out of this game and start getting ready for the next one. We can cut away from the stream here. And we've got 1 cube for Johnny there. He was able to force the retreat from Nikki. Really smart tactical retreat. If you know you're going to lose the match, it does not make sense to stay in and continue to push the advantage if you think you're going to lose.
I had Shang-Chi. I almost
Yeah,
played him.
I was scared of the
really
Shang-Chi.
close.
I was expecting it middle, so I'd rather the Sunspot go to like 6 or 7, and then chill.
I didn't know if you had Venom, and you were just going to chomp on everything, and then I could Shang-Chi him and take middle, but
Yeah, I think.
it was too much of a gamble.
Oh, yeah, the Sentinel avoiding. You guys can go ahead and queue up for the next match. The Sentinel avoiding the Shang-Chi. That is some. Yeah, you didn't even say. I asked you, and you refused to say why.
Yeah, I didn't want to give it away. I knew the play was coming, and I didn't want it.
Very nice play. All right, here we go. Match 2. Johnny up by 1 here after the first game. Dark Dimension cards played here are not revealed until the game ends. So this is really interesting. Both players can set up some pretty secret moves here, hiding their plays from their opponents. And also making sure that the on-reveal effects don't happen until the end of the game. So if you really wanted an on-reveal effect to go off, but not right now, it's not good right now, you can play it to the Dark Dimension and then wait until the end of the game when it could go off at that point. So Johnny definitely doesn't want Sunspot to be hidden there under the Dark Dimension. He wants to be able to use Sunspot to get energy he doesn't spend throughout the whole game. Washington, D.C., again, here at the middle location, I generally feel like that's better for Johnny, or for Nikki, although Johnny does have 0 in his hand, and so he can give one of his cards no abilities, thereby making it take advantage of Washington, D.C.'s ability there. Washington, D.C. gives cards with no abilities plus 3 power. There's a card called Patriot, who has the same text. It's ongoing cards with no abilities have bonus power, and so Washington, D.C. reflects Patriot's ability in the card game. We see Angela coming down here for Nikki. Again, gets an extra bonus the more cards that are played there. So we should expect. Oh, Limbo is the 3rd location. All right, there's going to be a turn 7 this game. I wonder who that favors more. It's tough. This gives Nikki more time to fill all the locations and more time to draw the best card in her deck, Blue Marvel. So that could favor Nikki. It also gives Johnny more time to set up combos, but it's unclear if he needs that time or not. I think he's trying to get a huge board before. And Red Skull is much weaker in a world where Nikki has more time to fill the board. So very interesting. It looks like Johnny was considering playing Cloak the Dark Dimension. That would basically invalidate Cloak's normal ability because Cloak opening a dimensional portal after the game's over doesn't help very much, but does sneak a card in and make Nikki wonder exactly what card has been played the Dark Dimension. And she knows it was at least 3 cost or less because he played it on turn 3. So this gives her a little bit of information about kind of the general power level of the card that was played there. There's Sunspot coming down for Nikki and also immediately eating some of that energy she didn't spend, also buffing Angela. And we're going to see 0 come down here. Neither player really that worried about spending all their energy now because Sunspots are able to kind of take advantage of not using all of the energy spent. Johnny playing 0, not using all the energy. This sets up a potential Red Skull on the next turn because it's turn 4 right now. We're going into turn 5. We could see Red Skull coming down here for Johnny. We see Mysterio for Nikki buffing Angela. We're going to see an extra little Sunspot buff here because she didn't use all the energy she had. Which do we think is the real Mysterio? This is the question Johnny's asking himself right now. Well, it could be that face down one over at Dark Dimension. It could be the one at Limbo, and it could be at Washington, D.C. Here's the Red Skull. Interestingly, he did not play Red Skull to Washington, D.C., where it would have gotten the +3 power from removing its abilities with 0. Now, it could be because he's planning on playing Arnim Zola, which destroys a card and creates copies of it at the other 2 locations. It's cloning those cards. So maybe that's why we're seeing Red Skull set up to Limbo. He really wants Red Skull alone. He wants it with no other cards there, because Arnim Zola hits a random card. It's not random if there's only one choice. So if he plays it alone to a location, it guarantees Arnim Zola able to hit the exact card he wants. Now, this is interesting. Johnny's got a really good line of play here with lots and lots of Red Skulls coming. There's the snap. All right, I was wondering if it was coming. So Johnny's saying, I'm feeling good about this. I want to take the 1. I don't want you to have the extra turns to draw into your answer. Maybe you don't have Blue Marvel right now. Do you want to take that risk and play for 2 cubes, or do you want to bail out right now? Nikki wants the risk. She's feeling good. Woo. Captain America coming down, buffing that Mysterio. And Red Skull, 14 power. Little extra, not spending all the energy well, but maybe intentionally so to get enough power at that middle location to overcome whatever Johnny's planning on doing. There's the Arnim Zola. We knew it was coming. Oh, he's thinking about something else. Does he want to? He's going to Taskmaster. So Taskmaster copies he just drew it. He's now rethinking his play. He does have turn 7 to make the play next turn in case he doesn't want to reveal his choice to Nikki and give her a lot of information. It will put 4 cards at the middle location. Now, it's not as bad as it normally is because he's got Sunspot there. Sunspot can continue to grow in power even after you fill the location. So normally, blocking out a location gives your opponent too much information and lets them perfectly figure out exactly how much energy you're going to have at the location. But Sunspot lets you have a little more flexibility there. There was Arnim Zola destroying Red Skull, creating 2 clones at the other locations. The one in the middle location, no ability, so gets the bonus. Oh,
Crap.
Shang-Chi is too late! It's not going to be able to hit. The person who is currently winning is the person with initiative. So Johnny was able to flip first because he was winning, got the Arnim Zola to trigger, and Shang-Chi hits nothing. And they both have sunspots now. The cubes are going to potentially double again here. Johnny's slamming huge cards. This is great. Because it's turn 7, he has 7 energy to spend. He can play Typhoid Mary and Venom at the same turn. Eating Typhoid Mary with Venom, getting rid of the ongoing effect that would normally really hurt him, because -4 power at the middle location would actually give Nikki probably the win here. So he really doesn't want that Typhoid Mary sticking around. Nikki has to really decide, is this worth risking 2 more cubes? Is Blue Marvel enough? If she plays Blue Marvel, it will be an extra 4 power and give every other card +1 energy. One of those Mysterios is the real Mysterio and will be actually worth 5 power. Now, the one at the middle location, if it's the real Mysterio, will no longer get the Washington DC effect, because it'll have abilities when it becomes the real Mysterio. So that should still be enough, especially because Johnny is spending all his energy. Oh, here we go, and it's got to be Blue Marvel there. Typhoid Mary gets gobbled up by Venom. Still going to be a pretty big Venom, even with only getting. And there's the Blue Marvel. That's enough to go over the top of Venom. And it's going to give the middle location to Nikki. We're going to see the +1 to Sunspot there. All these cards that were played earlier on. Huge win at Dark Dimension, but it doesn't matter. You don't need to win one location by a lot. You got to win all 3 locations. Oh, it was always Mysterio at the middle at Limbo. So it was a huge win at Limbo. Oh, Johnny should have absolutely retreated there at the end of that game. Takes a 4-cube loss.
This is the worst day of my life. This is the best day of my life, but this is the worst day of my life. Good game.
I was really lucky.
Well played to both players. And where are the cube standings right now? I believe Nikki has 4 cubes. Johnny has 1 cube. Again, we're playing to 10 cubes, so we'll see how this goes out. Nikki with a pretty big advantage here in the early game. Go ahead and let's queue up for another match here. How did that last match feel, Nikki?
Good, but like tense the whole time. I never know if I'm going to draw Blue Marvel in time.
When did you draw it?
Oh, the last turn.
Oh, wow. Last third of the game.
Top
Nice
deck.
draw.
Top
Limbo helped. Limbo got you there.
Yeah,
goodness.
especially after Shang-Chi whipped.
All right, here we go. Yeah, that was a tough Shang-Chi. All right, here we go. Let's hop into the game. First location here. Oh, no, again, Clintar. Well, this has traditionally been bad for Nikki, but she's traditionally also had Storm to get herself out of this. Now, interestingly, Johnny knows that Storm's in her deck, so he could just assume that Storm is going to Clintar and start reinforcing that location right now. And he chooses not to. He's going Sunspot to the middle location, going to start building a stalwart there. He also has Elektra if Nikki plays. Oh, Squirrel Girl, very interesting. It gets the -2 power from Clintar, so she's now losing that location even though Johnny has 0 power there. Danger Room says cards played here have a 25% chance to be destroyed. Well, that adds a little bit of randomness to the game, but also the randomness doesn't hurt as much when the cube is low. If you play early on to Danger Room, taking a little bit of a risk when the cubes are only at 1, okay, so maybe your card gets destroyed. You can bail out. You only lose the 1 cube. It doesn't matter very much. When the stakes get high, playing a Danger Room has much, much bigger ramifications. So you can kind of choose when you want to take the risks based on what the stakes of the game are. Nikki lands Angela in the Danger Room. Now, Angela, by itself, not that big of a threat. Sunspot can easily come over the top by absorbing those powers. Oh, Miniaturized Lab. Wow. So the Miniaturized Lab from the movie Ant-Man starts out humongous, but on turn 3 shrinks to little tiny Miniaturized Lab, and no more cards can be played there. It becomes large again on turn 6 when cards can be played there again. Nikki, with the early card to Miniaturized Lab, can at least get 1 card there. So now what this does, this is actually quite interesting, because no more cards can be added there for any reason, whether it's Squirrel Girl or Mysterio, nothing can go into the Miniaturized Lab. This means Johnny absolutely must play a card there on turn 6, or Nikki's got it by default. So there's Mysterio for Nikki. We don't know which one's the real one, but it's going to buff Angela either way. Hulkbuster coming in for Johnny, developing Sunspot. We have a Sunspot and a Hulkbuster, and that's a 5-power Sunspot. Now this is oh no! There's the Danger Room. This is terrible for Johnny. It destroyed the giant Sunspot. Johnny immediately saying, no, I don't think I'm going to win this one. There's no advantage to retreating right this turn, but Nikki could snap this turn and really, I think, force the loss from Johnny. Now, if Nikki doesn't snap, there's no reason to retreat, and then she gives Johnny some opportunity to get back in the game and have some good plays. So perhaps Nikki doesn't want to scare him off. and she would like Johnny to limp in, maybe get a little more confident again, play to the end of game double. We'll see if Johnny gets scared here at the end of turn 6 and bails out at that point, or if he sticks around. So he has a chance to come back here, even with such a horrible play. This Hulkbuster, what a risk to play Hulkbuster to Danger Room. He had it with his card that was already there, Sunspot, and he gave it up. So Typhoid Mary now reducing Sentinel to 0 power. He's got to save something big for Miniaturized Lab. It's going to be tough for Nikki to generate a huge amount of power all in one turn because she needs a lot of cards somewhere to get a huge amount of power. She's got 1 squirrel there. If he plays Red Skull, Red Skull's tricky. He could try and get something set up with Arnim Zola, but it's just not. He's already got cards at all the locations. Playing Sentinel was a huge mistake, actually, because now he can't set up a Red Skull Arnim Zola play reliably. He's made it much more challenging for himself to have this late game combo. And that's he's probably regretting that right now. He looks like he's going to play the Red Skull there anyway. That's not a good place for Red Skull by default because it's going to give every card there +2 power. There's 4 cards there. Oh, and then the Shang-Chi really punishing that Typhoid Mary play. But then Shang-Chi goes away. That's actually good for Nikki because now she has room to play another card there if she needs to. Sunspot coming down to activate Ant-Man. And we see, here we go, the Taskmaster trying to take... Johnny's feeling great about Clintar. He's got 13 power there, even the +2 power there. Those cards are so small, he doesn't need to play the Electro, but that's just going to add some insult to injury. I guess if that's the real Mysterio and she doesn't spend energy, then that might not be enough. So here's Electra trying to make sure it turns off the Ant-Man. Even if it doesn't hit Ant-Man, it'll turn off Ant-Man's effect because there won't be 4 cards there anymore. So Electra's trying to steal that for Johnny. And then Taskmaster, the last card he played was Red Skull. So it's going to copy Red Skull. So actually, this is, despite the early bad play, unluckiness from Johnny, Johnny's actually in a really good position now. If Nikki had pushed her advantage earlier in the game, she might have scared him away, but she let him stick around, draw some great cards, and now I think he's potentially back in the game. Now, Nikki does have the potential Blue Marvel play. That might put her, if that's the real Mysterio Clintar, it might just clinch that for Nikki, because if that's 5 power for Mysterio there, it's going to go up to 11 plus 4 more from Blue Marvel. Oh, it's Blue Marvel. Is that Danger Room going to trigger? The whole game comes down to this. You could have guaranteed that the Danger Room wouldn't trigger by playing a Dimension Red Slab. Chose to play the Danger Room. There's Taskmaster. Here goes Electra. Is it enough? Kills the Sunspot, reducing Ant-Man. But is it the real Mysterio? It is, but it's not enough. That Electra clinched that location. That's a victory for Johnny. Congratulations. 2 cubes for Johnny. Well done.
Salvation, thank you.
My gift to you.
Thank you so much. I needed it, actually. I really did.
Oh, that was a huge win for Johnny, going up to 3 cubes. It's a tight game. Let's you guys can go ahead and queue up for another match. Nikki, did you feel good about that going into the final turn?
No, not at all. I was really nervous. I had Iron Man, so I was thinking about dropping Iron Man, and I don't think that would have helped either. Probably should have.
Yeah, it's tough. It's tough. It's double the cubes if you stay in. All right, we can jump back into the game. We're here at 4-3. It's a tight match. Nikki has the edge going into this match. Stark Tower is the first location. At the end of turn 5, give all cards here +2 power. So really great to get a bunch of cards in there. What's interesting about Johnny's hand right now is he has Cloak. So he can have a bunch of cards at Stark Tower, then open that portal somewhere else, move them all out of Stark Tower. So he can maybe get 4 of those triggers. Now, this is also really good for Nikki, who can generate lots of cards quickly. Cloning Vats will allow both players to create lots of cards. When you play a card here, add a copy to your hand. So we can see Cloak and then Cloak and then Cloak and then Cloak over and over again from Johnny if he wants it. And he's doing exactly that, getting that Cloak down. And then still, this is great for him because he needs to get a card down this turn. And also he maintains the Cloak play for later. Now, it doesn't let either player start building a Bulwark at Stark Tower, which is a little bit of a bummer for both of them. It's already turned 3 here, and they have no cards at Stark Tower. They need to start getting some cards there to take advantage of that. And, oh, yeah, if he plays Cloak there, both players can move there. So it sets up an advantage for Johnny, but also an advantage for Nikki. Third location here is Hala. At the end of turn 4, destroy all cards controlled by the player losing here at Hala. So this is really tough. Do you want to commit some resources to Hala? If you do, you might beat your opponent, destroy all their cards. If you don't commit enough resources, all the resources you've committed there will be destroyed. Looks like both players are being a little bit scared off here by Hala. Oh, interesting. Nikki played Juggernaut to Stark Tower, hoping to get rid of any cards Johnny played there so they wouldn't get the benefit from Stark Tower. Smart play, but Johnny decided to play Hulkbuster to Cloning Vats. What a great play. Hulkbuster combines with the other cards, so now he's got a 5/8 Cloak, so a humongous Cloak he can play later in the game. And we see at least finally trying to get some cards down for Johnny. He can also move the cloak he played last turn over there, getting that benefit, and he has another cloak to move him away if he needs to make some room or get another location if he doesn't think he's going to win that one. So we have 3 cards there for Nikki. This is the last turn. Cards can be... Oh, there's Hala. It destroys Johnny cards because he's losing that location, but he had no cards there. He decided not to compete. He's moving the cloak. And, all right, he's got 5 energy to spend. Could set up a good Taskmaster play. He's got Red Skull going to Hala. That Hala's been burned, so no need to worry about being the loser at that location anymore. And it's the second last turn of the game. This game's going quick. Red Skull buffing Squirrel. We see Iron Man going down to Cloning Vats. And now this is very interesting. It doubles the power there, buffing Angela. A lot of power already. And with another Iron Man in Nikki's hand, she can double Cloning Vats again. And that's a huge amount of power there. So we see Elektra here. Not a lot of great targets for Elektra. I guess you could reduce the number of cards at Hala, so there's less buff going for Red Skull. And he's got 0, but it's 3 power. It's fine, I suppose, but it's not going to turn any heads here. He's going to just kind of play it somewhere. Both of them got pretty good advantage from Stark Tower. Neither of them had a better... This is tough. This is the last turn of the game. It's hard to tell who's winning this turn. Johnny's winning Hala. He's winning Stark Tower, and he's going huge at Cloning Vats. But with Blue Marvel, we could see a huge play here at Cloning Vats. We could see another Iron Man go to Stark Tower and maybe an Ant-Man to Cloning Vats, which would get doubled by Iron Man. So there's definitely some big plays to be made here from Nikki. But it's tough. I don't know what's in Nikki's hand. Here's Taskmaster copying Red Skull. That's pretty huge. It's 14 power to that middle location. There's Elektra killing the Squirrel, obviously. And this one's going to buff Angela, too. The Iron Man does go to Stark Tower. That's enough for Nikki to win Stark Tower. That's exactly what she needed to take that location. Sunspot there at the last one. That buffs Angela again. It's doubled, but it's not enough thanks to the Elektra play. And Johnny able to win 2 locations, taking 2 cubes off Nikki and taking the lead.
Well done, well
Thank
done.
you.
Not Blue Marvel.
I was very nervous about the Shang-Chi.
Oh my gosh, I didn't draw him either.
Well, 5-4, Johnny on the lead. You guys can go ahead and queue up here for another match. Johnny's halfway there, so these players kind of playing it a little bit tentative. Neither one of them going all in for four cubes here. Instead, they're playing little small games for 1 or 2 cubes apiece, trying to slowly chip away at their opponent, getting to 10 cubes first. All right, let's check in here. Hellfire Club first location. Hellfire Club is an exclusive location for the members of the Hellfire Club. No one-cost cards are allowed at such a prestigious location. So Sunspot not going to the Hellfire Club. Obviously, you can't play one-cost cards there. Instead, going to the middle location, avoiding Danger Room's trigger. Gets in there before Danger Room is revealed. The other Sunspot going there as well. Choosing not to play 0 here, because setting up a 0, you really need to know what your next card's going to be. You really want to hit 0 into Typhoid Mary. And so no 0 coming down. It is going to take advantage of the Sunspot, eating that extra energy. Going to 2 energy here. Doesn't get destroyed by the Danger Room. Angela going to Hellfire Club. Third location is Subterranea. Subterranea says shuffle 5 rocks into both players' deck. Now, this is really interesting, because if you just draw rocks from here on out, you're screwed. It's not going to go well for you. But your opponent doesn't know how many rocks you've drawn. So you can kind of represent that you're going well and you have not drawn rocks by snapping and hoping your opponent doesn't quite realize that your hand is full of just useless rocks. Storm coming down, getting rid of Hellfire Club, buffing Angela. This is the last turn cards can be played to that flooding location. 0 setting up a good play here. And this is really tough, because Nikki really relies on this Storm play to have an early advantage and win it. And Johnny has a great counter in Typhoid Mary, especially being 0'd. It's not going to affect his other cards. This would be a fantastic turn for a Juggernaut play, or even, honestly, just any play that can get enough power. Lots of cards coming to the flooding location. That's going to buff Angela twice. Ant-Man is great at a full location. And there's Mysterio. Is it the real one? It doesn't even need to be, because she's already winning at that location. So perhaps you save Mysterio for a location where she really needs that power. And this is great, because now Elektra can't even threaten that Ant-Man, because nobody can play cards to the flooded location. Nikki in a very good lead here. She's losing in the 2 locations, but only because, and Nikki realizes she's in a good position, snaps. Johnny now has to decide, do I have a chance here? He does have the Arnim Zola that could get him a card over into the flooded location. The only one he can for sure count on winning that location is Sunspot. But if we see a Blue Marvel from Nikki, that's 4 extra power on that side. He doesn't know what the real Mysterio is. If it's the one at the flooded location, I think Johnny has no chance to win this game. And he should concede right now before the stakes go up to 2. So he really has to think, what would she have played the real Mysterio there, knowing I had the flexibility to move some cards around, get an Arnim Zola, and get a card into the flooded location? Or would she have tried to make sure she had a second location within grasp? Will he even be able to get, this is the second last turn of the game, the snap. Oh, is he doing it? Is he gonna do it?
Oh.
He does it, he retreats. He doesn't think he's got it. So Johnny taking the 1 cube loss.
I grabbed a rock. Didn't have maybe power, no energy, but
That
yeah,
was
I was not confident. Is that the real Mysterio?
No, not on the flooded look. I was looking at Blue Marvel stuff.
Yeah, it would.
I also thought, but that worked.
Fool me once. Shame on me.
A handful of rocks is just fine if you bluff your opponent out of the game with a snap and then they get scared off. Well done, Nikki. Tied up 5-5. How do you feel going into this next game?
Hype.
Yeah, very hype.
All right, let's
Very
see.
nervous.
It's so close.
All right, you guys can feel free to queue up here. Yeah, it's very close. This is a close match, and we're halfway through. We haven't had any massive swings yet. We had the 1 4-cube game early on, but it was we haven't seen too many humongous games just yet. All right, let's head over to the stream, see how this game begins. First location here is a really interesting one. Onslaught Citadel. Ongoing effects here are doubled. You do not want to double Red Skull. You do not want to double Typhoid Mary. But Nikki's looking at the location and thinking, Ant-Man's fantastic here. Captain America's fantastic here. Blue Marvel's incredible here. So this is the exact worst location for Johnny. I'm actually surprised we didn't even see a turn 1 snap there for Nikki. He's got this quick cube before Johnny has any idea what's happening to him. It's the turn 2 snap. All right, Johnny did get a chance to draw an extra card, though, so maybe he's thinking this is enough at this point. It's a pretty good draw on turn 2 there for Johnny.
Mojo's.
Yeah, Mojo. Yeah, right. Yeah, just lose the 1. Don't bother playing the 2 cubes when you've got such a. Now, Nikki may not even. Did you have Blue Marvel?
Not yet.
Didn't have it.
Just the threat of it, and then the Mojo World just does not work out well with this deck. I'm just trying to get like 1 big dude, 2 big dudes.
Yeah.
Just wasn't feeling it.
Yeah, it's tough.
Onslaught's one of my favorite locations.
Yeah.
So much.
Well, that's one of the nice things about only losing 1 cube. If you see something you don't like in the early game, your hand's not great, the locations aren't great. Doesn't matter. You're only going to lose 1 cube. Go ahead and concede and get back in the game. You can make it all up with 1 giant game of 4 cubes. It doesn't hurt you that badly. So let's hop in here to our next match. That quick win for Nikki, going up to a very slight advantage. Now, this is actually a pretty critical breakpoint because Nikki has 6 cubes here. So a 4-cube game wins Nikki the match. So Johnny has to be careful about a snap here because it really changes. If Nikki had 5 cubes and a snap happens, it's not going to mean instant death for Johnny because she'll only go to 9 cubes. So now this is gonna be a little bit more dangerous. Okay, moving fast here. Kamar Taj, on reveal effects happen twice at this location. Do we have any on reveal effects that really matter for either player? I'm not sure. Perhaps Squirrel Girl is maybe the most impactful for Nikki. And we've got, and the other ones don't, Venom's not going to eat everything twice. Everything will be gone after the first Venom, and Hulkbuster can't envelop another card twice. So, and Zero can't affect the next card twice. So not a lot of action there. Monster Metropolis here, the card with the highest power here gets +3 power. Well, that's going to be Johnny's card almost certainly. And then third location is Onslaught Citadel again. That's pretty rough, especially Iron Man at Onslaught Citadel. It gets just totally out of control. Now, the card with the highest power here gets 3 power. That's a great location for Johnny. So perhaps he's looking at this location and thinking, okay, I'm going to win Monster Metropolis. Onslaught Citadel is going to win it for Nikki. Maybe I don't need to worry too much about Onslaught Citadel if I can win the other 2 locations. Captain America, great card to drop at Onslaught Citadel. Gets double the power there. Sentinel, adding another Sentinel to his hand. Already got the +3 buff, but it won't be the one that ends with it because Johnny's going to play some much bigger cards to that location. He's actually got some great cards in his hand. He's got Venom. He's got Typhoid Mary. He can start building that really, really big card that he can then Arnim Zola get some huge plays at other locations. So we see Hulkbuster and Zero coming down. He's going to start setting this up. I believe he's maintaining Onslaught Citadel to be empty, so he can start building one big card, starting with Typhoid Mary next turn. Hulkbuster has nobody to target. Here comes Ant-Man, also an ongoing ability. Which of these is the real Mysterio? I probably not Onslaught Citadel because Nikki has a huge number of cards already there. Now, she's really invested a lot. It's very tempting to put lots of cards to Onslaught Citadel, but I think actually Johnny's play is to just forget about it. Play cards everywhere else, try and win the other two locations. Perhaps Nikki is overextended into an exciting location, not thinking that Johnny has the ability to just pummel Kamar Taj and Monster Metropolis, especially taking advantage of that +3 power. Now, neither player has snapped yet, so neither is feeling either too confident, or perhaps they're hoping the other player limps into that last double. They don't want to scare them away just yet. Rock Slide filling Johnny's deck with some rocks. Does that matter at this point? It's hard to tell. It didn't draw the rock anyway. Arnim Zola here coming down the final turn. Now, this is interesting. So Johnny's going to get 10 power at each other location. That will get and Johnny snaps. He thinks he's got it. Would a blue Marvel at Onslaught Citadel be enough to overcome that? It's the final turn of the game. There's not quite enough cards at the other locations to take huge advantage of that buff. It would give +4 power to each other location. So she's going to win Onslaught Citadel here after the Arnim Zola goes off. Oh, she accepted the double.
Bring it.
There's the double Typhoid Mary. They don't have their effects anymore thanks to Zero. There's the blue Marvel, +4 power each location. But which one of these is the real Mysterio? Oh, it's the one at Kamar Taj! That was the one! It perfectly goes up to 15 power. That was a perfect Mysterio play. Nikki coming over the top with 4 power, and that is 10 cubes. Congratulations, Nikki, on the win.
Thank you. Great game, Johnny. You have such an incredible deck.
Thank you so much. Thank you for the games. I mean, my heart is broken, it's shattered. I feel terrible, but this was so much fun. It was great to be able to show off the game.
How did your deck work out for you, Johnny?
I love this deck. I think it's a lot of fun. It's really flexible. There's a lot of different strategies to run with it. The idea of just playing these giant baddies is really fun. The threat of the Shang-Chi was just very, very intimidating, and I kind of just was very scared to ever snap because I wasn't sure what cards were going to get destroyed. I didn't know if I was going to be able to get the Arnim off, but I feel great.
Yeah, I had forgotten about the Shang-Chi, and I'm just watching you try and play around that Shang-Chi over and over again, and I was like, oh yeah, that's, of course. And Shang-Chi didn't make that much of a difference, actually. It only had one game where it even destroyed one card. I think you won that game, Johnny. So it was all that fear, or maybe it was just incredible skill playing around the Shang-Chi over and over again, really limited the impact of that card. That could be a real nail in the coffin for your deck. Nikki, how did your deck perform for you?
I had a ton of fun. I think Shang-Chi was like a fun card to have in there, but Johnny had so many like big baddies at so many locations that I could only really use it once somewhere, and so I had to be really strategic if I was going to drop them. These are 4 costs, so it's like competing with all these other great 4 costs, or I can load up the locations more so I can maximize Blue Marvel. So it's always like that mid to late game where I'm trying to decide, is it worth it? And so the games I drew Blue Marvel, I think really went well for me, so that worked out.
Well, excellent job snapping and using the cube to your advantage to get 10 cubes there. Well done, Johnny and Nikki. Thank you so much for playing our first ever kind of head-to-head match on live stream. We've been getting a ton of questions through the live stream, and I'm going to go through and answer some of those now for you before we close out the stream. So the first question here is, when does closed beta start? And the answer is we're hoping to start inviting folks to the closed beta within the next week or two, super soon. So make sure you go to marvelsnap.com and sign up for the beta today if you want a chance to get in on the beta. Here's another question. Are there any other game modes planned? The answer is yes. We have more announcements in the coming weeks and months about more game modes. There's some really exciting ones, especially for even more competitive play and potentially to support tournaments that I'm really excited about, and we'll share more about that at a future time. So here's another question here. Can any location spawn in any of the 3 slots? Sort of. Most of the locations can spawn in any of the 3 slots, but there are some locations that are more fun when they're the 2nd or 3rd location. For example, there's one location, I'm not sure if it'll be in when we ship, but it may come out at some point, which is called Transia, and it shuffles the locations. So you think you know where these locations are, but on the 3rd location when it flips, it says, psych, these are actually different locations. So that kind of location is better when it's only the 3rd location. Here's a question that says, what happens when players tie at 2 locations or 3 locations? So if players tie at 2 locations, then one person's going to win 1 and the other person's going to win 0. The person who wins 1 is the victor. So it's just whoever wins more locations than the other is winning. If there's a tied location and each player wins, I win 1 and you win 1, then the person who has the most total power wins the game. So that's the big tiebreaker. You want to get as much power as you can if you think one of the locations is going to tie. And if we're tied at all 3 locations or we have the same total power, that's just a true tie. We both, neither of us loses any cubes, and we go back for a rematch. Is there a difference between winning 2 locations or 3 locations? Yes, it's the unbelievable sadness your opponent feels at being completely rolled by you during the match, and just the knowledge that they couldn't even win a single location against you. It's demoralizing. We've been struggling on the team here because this is a really important thing for everybody watching the stream to know. We want a great name for this moment when you win 3 locations. We're auditioning words. So every time I win by winning 3 locations, I declare some new name like, oh, you got Tesseract, or oh, you got Casseroled, or something. So if you have any ideas for what we should call it when you win 3 locations, please hit me up on Twitter or Reddit. I would love some ideas for what to call it when you completely destroy your opponent by winning all 3 locations. All right, do cards have rarity? So sort of yes, sort of no. Cards have different rarities, but they're not how rare they are in the game. Every card is about the same chance to get it in the game, but they all start out as common, and then you can upgrade your cards through different rarities. Now, there's just a visual upgrade, so they don't get any more powerful, but they look cooler. So they start out as common, and then you upgrade it to uncommon, and then rare, and then epic, and then legendary, and then ultra, and then infinity. We have lots of rarities, and each one looks cooler. So common cards are just kind of flat cards, but when they become uncommon, they frame break and pop out of the frame. When they become rare, they have that cool 3D parallaxing effect that you saw. When they become epic, we had some really cool animation. When they become legendary, the logo gets super shiny and sleek and has some cool animation there. When they become ultra cards, they have a animated border. And then when they get to infinity, you can split the card into 2 copies. And you have the original card that is infinity, and you also have a brand new common copy, but with a new effect. Perhaps it's a foil card, or perhaps it's got some really cool effect when the card flips over, like a flare effect. And now you can level that card up and go through all of the tiers of rarity. And then when you get to infinity again, you get another split and you get another copy, maybe with multiple effects on it. So it's a really fun thing to do, to play with your cards, upgrade them over time, and then get foils and other cool effects on those cards. Now, one of the coolest parts of the game is that as you upgrade your cards, every time you upgrade a card, you increase your collection level. And as your collection grows in its cosmetic coolness by playing with those cards and upgrading them, you unlock new cards. And that's how you unlock tons of cards. There's a level tree, and as you continue to get more collection level by playing with your cards and upgrading them, you unlock new cards. That's the way you unlock the bulk of the cards in the game, is by playing with your cards, getting boosters by playing with them, boosting your cards to upgrade them, which again is not power, it's just cosmetic, and then unlocking new cards. Okay, so this next question here is, how does the game decide who goes first? So if you're winning, you flip first. So it can be an advantage to try and make sure that you are winning on turn 3, even though it doesn't normally matter for the end of the game. If you want to make sure, for example, that your Arnim Zola flips and moves your card before the Shang-Chi goes off and destroys the card you were hoping to copy, or maybe you want to make sure you're losing so that you get to flip second, so that if you think they're going to play Hulk on turn 6, your Shang-Chi flips second and destroys their Hulk. So really actually paying attention to, am I winning or losing each turn of the game, and trying to make sure you don't accidentally put yourself in a position where you don't flip first when you want to, or vice versa. That can be quite tricky. Oh, there's one more question here from earlier in the stream. Is every starter deck the same? Yeah, every player starts with the same deck. It's 12 cards. You earn cards really fast, though, especially at the very beginning of your experience. You want to make sure you have a lot of cards to build really exciting decks with, and so we're just going to dump cards on you right at the beginning. Here's a question. Are there Battle Pass seasons? So yeah, we have a season pass where every month there's going to be a ton of really awesome rewards. They're going to be themed around something cool. We're going to have new, unique cards every single month that are going to come out that are available in the Battle Pass. And those cards will eventually, they'll be available by purchasing the Battle Pass, and then they'll eventually be available for free, even if you decide not to spend money on the Battle Pass. And we've done a lot of really fun work to make each Battle Pass super fun themed. They're gonna be about maybe what's going on in the general Marvel universe, or movies that are coming out, or just really fun events that we love from Marvel history. We're gonna have new cards that follow that theme. We're gonna have new locations coming out each week that follow that theme as well, and then awesome variants and avatars and other cool rewards that all reflect the theme of that month. Each month coincides with a ranked season, so work as hard as you can to get those cosmic cubes, get your rank up. You get awesome rewards the higher rank you are, and then each season has unique rewards that you can earn that are also themed around that month. All right, that's all the questions that we have time for today. Thank you so much for watching. Follow us on TikTok, follow us on Twitter, follow us on Facebook, follow us on Twitch, follow us everywhere because we're going to have lots more to share as we start closed beta super soon. We're going to be sharing a ton of information. And then once closed beta starts, it's going to be all out everywhere all the time because people are going to be streaming it and sharing it everywhere as they get their hands on the real game. Thank you so much for watching our first ever live stream. Thanks, everybody. See you online.